He is dead, innit? I warned you, the police, 1 year. Look, it happened. You idiot imbeciles. I was in special forces, you. I warned them. I was gonna murder him.
So, maybe you live in a nice neighborhood where everybody knows everybody. Most of the neighbors are nice and wave when they see you, or maybe even partake in some friendly small talk. Sounds pretty normal, right? Perhaps you're unfortunate and have that one neighbor that always wears an angry expression and never has anything nice to say, yet is talking all the time. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the type. Well, in a neighborhood near Tewkesbury, Gloucestershire, a man named Matthew Borman had exactly this type of neighbor. This neighbor was a man named Con Arslan, a name which several people would soon know. As you just witnessed in the short clip at the beginning of this video, Arslan had no problem admitting to what he had done just minutes prior. He even told the police that he gave several warnings to his victim leading up to the incident. Borman was a happily married man and a father of 3 whose family had endured about 12 years of Arslan's verbal abuse and threats. And although the main target, they weren't the only victims in the area. Several neighbors reported Arslan being aggressive towards him and threatening their lives. The police had even been notified on multiple occasions, but the problem was, Arslan hadn't actually committed a crime at this point, so law enforcement could do nothing. With the threats increasing and people being more and more afraid to leave their homes, this is when the people living in the neighborhood, aside from Arslan of course, came together and discussed what they should do to put a stop to Arslan before things got any worse. Many of the homeowners put up expensive security cameras in response and kept things on hand to use as weapons, mainly consisting of bats and golf clubs. On top of this, they were also working towards getting Arslan evicted from the area altogether, as they should for their own protection and for the protection of their families. Arslan caught wind of this and blamed neighbor Matthew Borman for being the main person conspiring against him and the reason for all the troubles. This is when the death threat started, specifically aimed towards Borman. Once again, several of the neighbors called the police for assistance, but once again they said that there could be nothing done about this. As the threats continued and people became more on edge, Arslan was conspiring a plan for revenge against who he considered to be his enemies. On the afternoon of October 5th of 2021, Con Arslan lay in wait for Matthew Borman to return home from his place of employment. When Borman stepped out of his vehicle, this is when he was blindsided by Arslan, who had a knife in hand. Arslan proceeded to stab Borman 27 times, and when Borman's wife intervened to try to stop the attack, she received one deep gash to the leg. This is when an off-duty officer that lived in the area chased Arslan with a board, hitting him with it, trying to get him out of his rage. Arslan then ran into another neighbor's backyard, breaking the fence in the process, and proceeded to stab another man a total of 8 times. All of this was caught from different angles on CCTV.
Put it down! Put the knife down, Con. Con, put the knife down. Put the knife down.
The trial for Arslan began in March of 2022 and concluded in April of 2022. And although he tried to plead insanity, the jury decided that he knew what he was doing at the time of the crime and it was wrong. So therefore, Arslan was responsible for his actions. So with a unanimous vote, he was guilty of murder and charged for a minimum of 38 years behind bars. This is what Borman's family had to say about the tragic events that took place at the evil hand of Arslan.
Today and for the rest of my life, I've been mourning the loss of my husband. Our family and friends have been sentenced to a lifetime of grief. On October the 5th, 2021, Matthew's life was stolen from him. by the defendant, and he was so cruelly taken from us. We will never be the same without him. But as we move forward and learn how to cope without him, we fight in his name to expose not only the malice and cruelty of the man that did this, also the failings of the system that let this happen. In the years that preceded Matthew's death, multiple agencies and authorities were warned of the threat that this man posed, not only to Matthew, but to many other neighbours who were threatened and harmed by him. Although Matthew's murder has shocked us all to the core, the incident was not remotely out of the blue. The police and other authorities had been made aware of how dangerous this man was, the threats he made and the risks he presented. The response was toothless and ineffective, even when the defendant himself told the police he was going to murder Matthew. That conversation took place on the 4th of October, the night before Matthew died. He was not even warned. Matthew was not this man's only victim, but on that dreadful evening he was the only one with the misfortune to pay the high price of his life.
Anyway guys, as always, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, leave an emoji of your choice for me at the bottom in the comments. I like to see who stays until the end. Stay safe, because you're never as safe as you think you are. Good night.